Panthers came into the NFL as an expansion franchise in 1995 and got to the NFC Championship game the next year. Played in the Super Bowl 3 seasons ago, thanks in good measure to that man, Jake Delhomme, who had been in New Orleans, didn't play there, came here, and now he's a Pro Bowler. Let's go to Andrea Kramer.
Well, I walked off the field with Tony Romo after the pregame warm-ups. I said, what's going through your mind? He said, a lot of excitement. I'm just anxious to get going. I said, what are you going to do in the last few minutes before you come out? He said, I'm just going to pretend like it's practice, go through my reads, and just make my final adjustments.
Met with him yesterday. I think Bill Parcells summed him up perfectly. He said, confident, but not cocky. A very engaging guy, and he'll get a few extra minutes to think about it because Carolina's going to start with the ball. Mike Vanderjagt, the ex-Colt, to kick off. Richard Marshall to run it back for the Panthers. Marshall is a rookie from Fresno State. John Fox now in his 5th season, formerly the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. Bill Parcells, his 4th season at Dallas, and here we go from Charlotte, North Carolina. Richard Marshall from the 7-yard line brings it back up to the 32-yard line, and that is where Delhomme and the gang will go to work. Let's meet the Carolina offense.
Jake Delhomme, Louisiana Lafayette.
Deshaun Foster, Tulsa High School.
Brad Hoover, Western Carolina.
Steve Smith, Utah.
Keyshawn Johnson, University of Southern California.
Chris Mangum, Mississippi.
Jordan Gross, Utah. Mike Wall, Rim High School.
Jeff Handgardner, Texas A&M.
Evan Mathis, the University of Alabama.
Jeremy Bridges, the University of Southern Mississippi.
Deshaun Foster, their running back, plays on all 3 downs, unlike Julius Jones, who's the 1st and 2nd down back, and Marion Barber, the 3rd down back for Dallas. And on play action, the first play of the game is a pass, but it's out of bounds. Keyshawn Johnson stretching for it, covered by Anthony Henry. So they go right to Keyshawn in his first year with Carolina, but it's incomplete.
You're right. It's interesting. The Panthers came out with 3 wide receivers, went in motion, and left Keyshawn over all by himself over on this side. It was one of those isolate things, get him out there one-on-one on that side, and the ball was just thrown a little too wide.
Johnson and Smith, a great 1-2 punch. Smith with 39 receptions coming in, Keyshawn with 36. Now it's Foster, who played his college football at UCLA. Stopped at the line of scrimmage. Let's take a look at the Dallas D.
Marcus Spears, Louisiana State. Jason Ferguson, Georgia. Chris Canty, Virginia. Greg Ellis, the University of North Carolina.
Brady James, LSU.
Aiken Adele, Purdue. DeMarcus Ware, Troy.
Terrence Newman, Kansas State.
Keith Davis, Sam Houston State. Roy Williams, Oklahoma.
Anthony Henry, South Florida.
3rd down and 9 now, and the Panthers are last in the league in converting on 3rd down this season. 3rd and long here, and Delhomme is under pressure and has to throw it away. So it's been a season-long problem for the Panthers, and one of the things that happens when you don't convert on 3rd down, your punter sees a lot of action.
Yeah, that's what John Fox was saying the other day. He said their problem is turnovers, ours is 3rd down conversions. And of course, when you don't gain anything on 1st down, when you go incomplete pass and then you come back with a run on 2nd down, you have to gain something on that, or you're going to be 3rd and long. And 3rd and long in this league is very tough to convert.
Jason Baker to do the punting. Terrence Newman, Cowboy cornerback and punt returner, fields at the 15-yard line. And the former Kansas State Wildcat brings it back to the 25. So here comes Tony Romo, and here is the Dallas offense.
Tony Romo, Eastern Illinois.
Julius Jones, Notre Dame.
Terrell Owens, Tennessee Chattanooga.
Terry Glenn, The Ohio State University.
Jason Witten, Tennessee.
Anthony Fasano, Notre Dame. Flozell Adams, Michigan State.
Kyle Kozar, Arizona State.
Andre Gerard, Colorado.
Marco Rivera, Penn State.
Mark Colombo, Boston College.
Now let's see how that offensive line plays tonight, whether they can protect Romo, whether they can open up holes for the running game. Romo, 4 years with the Cowboys, but his first start out of Eastern Illinois, and he begins from the 25-yard line after he played the entire second half last week against the Giants. They'll go right to the air, and so far so good as he goes right to Owens, who breaks a tackle and then gets forced out of bounds after a gain of about 8. broke out of a Ken Lucas tackle and steps out of bounds. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
You know, one thing Bill Parcells said last night, he only really said one thing about, physically about Romo. He says he has a quick release. He said he gets the ball out of there. And I think, he'd been living with Drew Bledsoe for so long that would hold the ball a little too long and let the pressure get there. Tony Romo is just the opposite. He's going to get back there. That back foot hits. The ball's coming out.
2nd down and 3. Romo slides to his right. And that pass is caught by Anthony Fasano. And that will be a 1st down. You also have a flag on the play. The first of the game. Scott Green is tonight's referee.
Didn't you kind of feel that the Cowboys have come out
Shot
running?
clock, offense, number 65 and number 21, 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Andre Gerard and Julius Jones. You would have thought, but when Parcells put him in last week in the Giants game, John, as everybody knows now, he went right to the air. His first play is a pass, interception.
Right, it was a bootleg, and he wanted him to show that they were going to move and move the pocket. And I think this time is you just want the guy to get in the flow of the game, get a little rhythm, get a feel of everything. He got off to a pretty good start, and this penalty here kills him.
So instead of a 1st down, it is 2nd down and 18 from the 17-yard line. Against the 4-man line and a 4-man rush, and Romo throws to the outside, and he goes right back to the tight end, Jason Witten, tackled by Mike Minter. Here is the Carolina defense.
Julius Peppers.
Monke Kimayatu, Utah.
Chris Jenkins, Maryland.
Mike Rucker, Nebraska.
Thomas Davis, Georgia.
Chris Draft, Stanford.
Niall Diggs, the Ohio State University.
Chris Gamble, The Ohio State University.
Mike Minter, Nebraska.
Sean Williams, UCLA.
Ken Lucas, Ole Miss.
For whatever reason, Julius Peppers, not telling you, he played his college football at North Carolina. Number 2 overall pick in the draft.
And this is where he is tough on this down in this situation.
3rd and 10, and Romo cannot get rid of it. Tony Romo sliding to his right, and again, he gives you that mobility. But in the case of playing against this Carolina defense with Jenkins and Rucker and Peppers up front, very often no place to run.
You see what Peppers did on that play, Al? It was he that made the play. He felt the back coming off, and he just drops with him. Here he comes. He starts up. He feels Marion Barber. He goes in with him and takes it away. And that's why Tony Romo had to hold the ball. And then Chris Jenkins got there.
Here is Matt McBriar, who is averaging better than 50 yards a kick. He has a chance to break one of the longest standing records in NFL history. Sammy Baugh holding the mark at 51 and change. This took taken at the 30-yard line, and Chris Gamble will run it back to the 37.
This broadcast is copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this broadcast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of NFL Productions is prohibited.
We need to unite all the trolls, like rock, reggaeton, and techno.
Get ready for the drop! Wait for it! Wait for it!
Come on, man! Hit me!
Wait for it!
Let's do it already!
One more time!
Yeah. Trolls World Tour, rated PG, in theaters and at home on demand, April 10th.
Introducing the future of fitness. It's every class you can imagine. Live.
Welcome back to the Mirror.
You've got this, John.
And on demand. It's boxing, cardio, yoga, and more. It's an interactive, goal-crushing, whole family, whole body fitness machine.
It's so cool.
The future of fitness is at home. The Mirror.
These folks, they don't have time to go to the post office. They have businesses to grow, customers to care for, lives to get home to. They use Stamps.com. Print discounted postage for any letter, any package, anytime, right from your computer. All the amazing services of the post office, only cheaper. Get our special TV offer, a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com/try and never go to the post office again.
Early in the first quarter, from the 36-yard line, this drive begins. With Foster running through the middle, and most of the Panthers running this season has been between the tackles, and nothing happening there because you got Aiken Adele, the former Jaguar, and a very, very tough defense. And John, you were talking about Dallas coming into this season as maybe having the best defense in the league.
You know, I thought so in preseason. I was watching them, and you know, they had all that TO stuff, and I thought, you know, quietly Bill Parcells is building a heck of a defense here, and I like their outside guys. I mean, DeMarcus Ware, who plays out here on the right side, is something special. Greg Ellis, you know, a big linebacker on the outside. You have those two guys on the outside that makes this defense tough.
On 2nd and 10, that pass is incomplete. For the first time, they go to Steve Smith, and he will see a lot of Terrence Newman tonight in what will be a great matchup.
Yeah, Terrence Newman is going to go wherever Steve Smith goes. Now, that doesn't mean that he'll always be man-to-man. I mean, sometimes he's going to have help deep. He's going to have the safety over the top. He's going to have a linebacker coming out there because Terrence Newman is a good corner, but I'll say this, no one can cover Steve Smith man-to-man by himself without help.
Talked about the problems that Carolina's had on 3rd down. There it is when your quarterback is averaging 33, a 33 rating on 3rd down. You're not going to convert very often. Here it's 3rd down and 10. He's under pressure. He throws off his back foot, and the pass is underthrown and incomplete. Terrence Newman is there covering. So you had Smith going to the other side and Newman staying with him, and it's 4th down.
Yeah, what the Cowboys did, they pressured him on that one, but you know, you're going to see the pressure coming from the right side up there. Roy Williams, the safety, gets up there and comes, but they still have the receiver double deep. And that's what you have to do with Steve Smith. Even though you're going to blitz, you can't leave him man-to-man.
Baker to punt, and this time Creighton and not Newman is back to return the kick. That's a boomer into the night sky that backs Creighton up to the 13. And Creighton, one of the Dallas wide receivers, brings it back to the 18-yard line. Back off. You almost had the fullback moving, but Oliver Hoyt gets reset. Then they give the ball to Julius Jones, and Julius Jones takes it out to the 31. Julius had a huge day last year against Carolina, and his first run of tonight's game is out to the 31-yard line for a gain of 13.
And Oliver Hoyt makes a pretty good block. The guy that missed the fullback, you don't see a lot of that anymore, that fullback in there. But watch Flozell Adams there. He takes his guy out. Hoyt makes a good lead block in there, and Julius Jones gets right in behind him.
Hoyt is a converted linebacker who led the way there. The ball is at the 31. Jones again. Stop behind the line of scrimmage. You want to know how cool Tony Romo is? I mean, here's a guy. He's going to get the start. He's the Dallas Cowboy quarterback. So they go to him last week, and, you know, they're trying to create some controversy, the media. And they say, well, who's your favorite receiver? As if it's either got to be Owens or somebody else. Without blinking, he says Oliver Hoyt. And nobody had any idea who he was talking about. But Hoyt is the fullback, who, of course, never gets into the offense except to block.
Yeah, and I think with this group, when you had Terry Glenn on one side, Terrell Owens on the other side, that was probably close to the right answer, wasn't it?
Perfect. And hysterical. 2nd and 12. And Romo's going to take off and gets out to the 34-yard line. Mike Minter will get credit for a tackle there at the 34.
You know, and this is the thing that Tony Romo could do that Drew Bledsoe couldn't do is he can be active in that pocket. See here he goes from shotgun, goes a little play action pass, doesn't have anything there. It's not a loss. It's not a sack. It's not an interception. It's not a fumble. He only picked up 3 or 4 yards, but it still puts him in a 3rd and manageable position.
Spent time with Romo last night. Great sense of humor. And as Parcells said, confident but not cocky, and you could just feel it. 3rd down and 7. Rolling. Going to run again. He's going to pick up the 1st down. Knew exactly where he had to go, and then goes down at the 43-yard line. And again, you talk about the mobility, and it's a lot more than the experience of Bledsoe for the mobility of Romo, but that's the type of thing he can do for you.
You know, and you talk about the Panthers, you know, not having success on 3rd down. If you're going to have success on 3rd down, about 3 or 4 times a game, your quarterback has to run and get you a 1st down. See, Julius Peppers went to the other side that time. He usually plays on the left defensive side. That time he was on the right defensive side. I think Tony Romo felt he wasn't there. I'm going to go to that side now.
He gets 9 on the 3rd and 7. Quickly to Owens, and Owens gets by Gamble into Carolina territory and finally run out of bounds by Minter at the 33-yard line. So Terrell Owens makes the catch, and as he's done for years now, 11 of them, in fact, a lot of yardage after the catch.
You know, and that's the thing with Terrell Owens. I mean, a lot of people think you're a big play guy throwing the ball deep. All you have to do is get the ball in his hands because he's a playmaker. These are the types of things that he can do to run after the catch. I mean, he's a big guy. It doesn't have to be a deep pass. He can make a big play out of a short pass.
Caught that at the line of scrimmage and turned it into a 25-yard gain. He's caught 2 tonight, halfway through the period. A little toss back to Jones, who's going to try to cut it back. And Jones takes it to the 30-yard line for a gain of 2. So Romo takes over. And, of course, for the Cowboys, Troy Aikman went into the Hall of Fame this year. But since Aikman retired in 2000, you go back to the 2001 season. Carter, Bledsoe, Testaverde, Hutchinson, Ryan Leaf, Wright, Sterner, Henson, and now Romo. That's 9 starting quarterbacks since number 8 hung it up. And doesn't Jerry Jones know that all too well?
Yeah, because Jerry Jones knows that since Troy Aikman, if you have 9, that meant you had none. I mean, you didn't have the one guy. I mean, when Troy was there, he was the guy, and after he left, you never got the guy again.
2nd down and 8. Romo. And that pass is out of bounds. Owens was covered well, and Ken Lucas wants a flag for offensive interference on Owens. He won't get that, but it's incomplete, and it's 3rd down and 8.
Owens probably did push Lucas or something, because you wonder what Terrell Owens was doing that close to the sideline anyway. You see, when he takes the outside release here, he doesn't give Romo anything to throw to. I mean, he just runs out of bounds. I mean, he didn't do anything to Lucas, but that was a poor pattern by Terrell Owens. I mean, he's a better player than that. He knows that you can't be the outside guy and be forced out of bounds.
First incompletion. Romo has 3 of his first 4, and he has 2 runs. It's 3rd down and 8. And the play clock was ticking all the way down, so Romo is going to take a timeout. Timeout was taken by Romo and the Cowboys. The ball is at the 30-yard line. It is 3rd down and 8 for the Dallas Cowboys. Scoreless first quarter. Out of the shotgun. Owens and Creighton stacked as receivers to the right. Romo looked that way, then to the left, and that pass is not caught by Terry Glenn. He went to the ground, but he couldn't get possession of it. Covered well by Lucas, and now the Cowboys will attempt to take the lead on a field goal that will have to travel roughly 48 yards.
You know, what's impressed me so far about the Cowboys is their pass protection. I thought that their offensive line against the Giants were really weak. They were manhandled by the Giant defense. And so far in this game, they've been pretty stout against this Panther defense.
Mike Vanderjagt came over from the Colts. Romo was the holder, and Vanderjagt's kick hits the upright. It looked like it was starting to hook back in or draw back in, but it never got there. So a miss from 48, and the Panthers take over when we come back. First down. Jake Delhomme, the quarterback, from the 38. Delhomme, slant, winds up hitting Steve Smith for a gain of 8. Covered there by Terrence Newman. Again, a look at Vanderjagt. It started to draw, but hits the upright.
Now, that's the sound you don't want to hear if you're a kicker. You don't want to hear that second thump.
He thinks it's good. He can't believe it. No, you don't want to hear, as John has said for years, the doink.
No, you don't want the doink. You want the thump and then no more sound.
Gain of 11 on the play. The ball at the 49 on first down. They give it to Foster. And Deshaun Foster will pick up 3 across the 50 to the Dallas 48-yard line. 2nd down and 7. Foster he's their ace back. They picked D'Angelo Williams. They got him as a rookie in the draft, but he's been hurt. So Foster's been the guy, and he's averaging, as you can see, a little under the league average, which normally is 4.0 year after year. He's at 3.8.
You know, and I think, that can go to the 3rd down. You say that the Panthers haven't been successful on 3rd downs, but they haven't been successful on 1st and 2nd a lot of the time either, and they leave themselves in 3rd and long.
On 2nd down and 6 now. Delhomme will throw. That is caught near side, and that is Michael Gaines fighting for the extra yardage before he's finally taken down by Ware. So Michael Gaines in his third year out of Central Florida, 7th-round pick back in 2004, makes his first catch, and the ball to the 37-yard line.
Well, you see Greg Ellis there is on the tight end, Mike Gaines. He's the outside linebacker, and he's just playing him man-to-man. Now, what they did is they put their fullback, they put Brad Hoover to the outside. So what that did is that left Greg Ellis, the strong side linebacker, man-to-man on Michael Gaines.
Gaines is 6'3", 280. So lineman size, tough to bring down. Ball at the 37. Delhomme buying a ton of time with the fake, then has to throw underneath, and it's Foster who makes the catch and is ridden out of bounds just short of the first down by Brady James. You know, John, I'm looking at Jake Delhomme and I'm thinking about Tony Romo in the sense that Delhomme is another of those guys who sat on the bench, who carried a clipboard, who didn't get to play in New Orleans. Then he gets traded, and he finally got the opportunity, and clearly he's made the most of it.
Yeah, and I think that's what Bill Parcells and the Cowboys are hoping is going to happen to Tony Romo, that, you know, they sit, they wait, they're undrafted, they're a free agent, and then they come on big. And maybe the poster boy for all that could be Kurt Warner.
Yeah, Warner's a perfect example. Jeff Hostetler was like that. That's enough for a first down. Trent Green was another guy who was around for a long time before he finally got his opportunity.
Right, and when you have that situation, that's always what you're hoping for. I mean, you're hoping to get, you know, the Jake Delhomme, and you know, and you forget what a good quarterback he is. You know, just remember, just a few Super Bowls ago against the Patriots, if Jake Delhomme would have gotten the ball again, the Panthers would have won that game. I thought the last team that had the ball was going to win that Super Bowl.
And it turned out to be the Patriots. Now Delhomme's going to throw for Johnson, and Johnson will draw the penalty. That was Anthony Henry who was beaten on the play, and the only way he could stop him was illegally.
Yeah, it looked like Anthony Henry knew that. I mean, that was one of the matchups. You know, we talked about how Terrence Newman is going to play against Steve Smith.
Defense, number 42. Ball will be spotted at the spot of the foul. First and goal.
So that means that Anthony Henry is going to play the other side against Keyshawn Johnson. And Keyshawn gives him a double move. He's going to give him an out move there, and it looks like he thought he was going to the outside. He expected him to run a short pattern. He took a peek to the outside. Keyshawn goes by him, and the only thing he could do is grab him.
20-yard penalty. The ball is at the 7. It's first down and goal. The fake to Foster. Then the pass to Foster, which he makes off his shoe tops, and he's out of bounds. DeMarcus Ware thrusts him out of bounds at about the 2-yard line. It'll be second down and goal.
Yeah, Brad Hoover, the fullback I circled, he lined up wide. Now what they do is they want to see what the defense is, so they put a fullback out here. Now, if a defensive back stays on him, that means it's going to be zone. If a linebacker comes out and plays on him, then that means it's going to be man-to-man. Now, they just put him out there just to check the coverage. It doesn't mean they're going to throw it to that guy. That's going to tell him what the coverage is.
They spotted him out of bounds inside the 1. Second down and goal. And they give it to Foster. And Foster tries to bull his way in. Touchdown. Only needed about 30 inches, and he got him.
Well, I think he got about 10 initially, and then he got to 20 on the second effort. Keyshawn made that big play in the pass interference. You're going to see Hoover lead right through. Now, right there, he doesn't have anything yet, but on that second effort right there was when he got those last 20 inches.
You know, for a primary running back, he doesn't visit the end zone that much. He's carried the ball now 509 times in his career. That's only his 6th touchdown. And John Casey, who was one of the original Panthers when they came into the league in '95 for the extra point. So a 62-yard march after the missed Vanderjagt field goal. 7-0. Casey to kick off. Carolina. Ball fielded 5-yard line. Tyson Thompson, native of Irving, Texas, home of the Cowboys. And Tyson Thompson is out of bounds at the 35, and we'll go to Andrea Kramer. Andrea.
Well, Al, every week, Panthers head coach John Fox picks a player to address the team on Saturday afternoon. Well, yesterday, it was Keyshawn Johnson's turn. Johnson said of his former team, the Cowboys, the circus is coming to town, so get ready. They've got lots of acts going on, but this is our opportunity to burst onto the scene nationally and show people we're for real. Johnson said, this game is for our season, and he was looking ahead to next week's bye. He said, hey, you want to be 4-4 with your head between your legs, or 5-3 and walk around town with your chest out?
And there's a big difference because right now they're in third place in a tough division, trailing New Orleans, which lost today, and Atlanta, which won today at Cincinnati. And Romo throws, and Witten makes the catch, and there's a flag down. So for the moment, a first down. You know, I'm thinking, John, as a coach, and you can relate to this, you tell a guy each week, I'm going to pick a guy to make a speech.
Holding offense, number 65, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Andre Gerard, the center. Some guys would be so nervous that it might affect their preparation for the game if they knew they had to get up and make a speech the next day.
Well, Jake Delhomme was one of those guys. He said that. He said, you know, when, you know, before he announces who's going to make the speech, he said, I'm more nervous about that than I am about the team that we're playing against. So maybe John Fox ought to rethink that a little.
Certainly not ask Delhomme to do it.
Almost had a couple tough breaks here where he's made some pretty good plays, got first down, only to be brought back by a penalty.
At the 24-yard line, first down and 20. Then a draw with Jones, and Julius Jones finds it difficult to get some room here. Gain of a yard, maybe 2. Chris Draft makes the tackle. Second down, let's call it 19.
I want to see a guy that is a real force in the middle. In fact, any place that he goes, he's a real force, and that's Chris Jenkins. He is one of the biggest guys that I have ever seen. I mean, they have him listed like 330 pounds. I saw him in practice the other day. I know that he goes over 350. But remember a couple years ago, he was a top player. He was a Pro Bowl player, and he missed the last 2 years due to injury. But when he gets healthy, he's really something.
Especially along that defensive front. Second down and 19. Romo throws. Wide open is Owens at the 31-yard line, but covering quickly, closing quickly, was Ken Lucas, who now reaches down for his groin as he comes up slowly. Lucas was shaken up in Cincinnati last week. I think it was a hip injury that he incurred, and John Fox described it as just a penalty for the, or an injury for the day. Practice this week, but you can tell he's hurting again here.
Yeah, because they took him out last week, and the rookie Richard Marshall played his position. After hits like that, you always have to check all your parts, and looks like he checked them and they're all okay, so he's going.
Well, they've got Glenn on him right now, but Romo is not looking that way yet, and then has it tipped, and Gamble, can he get control of it before he steps out of bounds? The head linesman is there to say yes. The interception, Owens is going to plead the case, and this smacks, of course, of a challenge that would be impending as Romo comes over to the bench and says he never had possession. Gamble comes up. Does he? When does he have possession? Not yet.
No,
not
he
yet.
doesn't.
There. And if they want to challenge, they're going to win it.
I think they have to challenge. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, in this position, they just scored a touchdown. You can't let them have this field position again, especially when you look at the replay and see that he didn't have a possession of the ball before he went out of bounds.
Interception.
When we first looked at this, it looked like he didn't have possession and stayed in bounds. But let's go back here and this is very close. He's juggling it. He'll keep juggling it till he almost gets to the sideline, and then Gamble will get possession in just a second here. Right. Well, there he has his left foot down clearly.
After reviewing the play,
here comes the
ruling
answer.
on the field stands. Dallas is charged for second timeout.
So what they're saying is he had possession with the left foot down, and there is the right foot. Is it on the chalk or is it not? I mean, it's almost impossible to tell from that angle. So what Scott Green saw is basically the same thing we saw, and he didn't see enough to overturn the call on the field.
You know, when you looked at that thing live, though, it really looked like he was out of bounds and didn't have control of it. Then when you you break it down and you slow it down and then you stop it, you can see that likely he did have both feet in.
So now from the 24, they run Smith on an end around, and he'll get inside the 10 and go all the way to the end zone for the touchdown. So Parcells has seen the missed field goal, a shortened field. Carolina moved 62 yards with dispatch. A penalty to make it 1st and 20 after what would have been a first down. An interception and a challenge that he loses. And then Smith on the next play takes it into the end zone.
And that's what Steve Smith gives you with that great speed. It's not always just running straight up the field and catching deep passes, but it's catching short runs and then go deep or running reverses like that.
Second rushing touchdown of Smith's career, and Casey for the point after. So they take advantage of the turnover on one play. Now the Cowboys with a new quarterback with a huge game coming off that Giants loss, and watching the Giants now spread some daylight in that division. Giants winning again today against Tampa, and down by 14 on the road. And it's the first of 3 straight road games for the Cowboys. From the 1-yard line, Tyson Thompson. And Thompson will give them some decent field position up to close to the 40-yard line, and even better now because Carl Hankton is there out of bounds, and the flag comes in.
Yeah, I think somewhere around here, Bill Parcells has to get mad, don't you? You watched him on Monday night, and he just didn't look like he had any life to him. I mean, he didn't look like the old Bill Parcells. It was, getting in guys' faces, getting on guys, firing guys up.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 88, out of bounds hit, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Maybe the best word to describe the way he looked last week was exasperated. Here's Jones. And Jones will pick up a first down to the 36-yard line. And people close to Parcells have talked to him. And, it's funny, Bill last night, he does not pass the buck. He said to us last night, he said, I'm upset with myself over where we are. He said, this game, football, tells you who you are. He said, last week's game told me, Parcells, you're bad.
Yeah, and he was bad, and they were bad. I mean, I watched a film of that game, and the Giants not only beat him, they whipped him and manhandled him.
Jones gets taken down on the first down play. Julius Peppers right there for the tackle.
I think sometimes, that whole Drew Bledsoe and Tony Romo thing kind of camouflages some stuff and disguises it when maybe it wasn't all about just Drew Bledsoe. Maybe the line didn't block. In fact, not maybe. I know they didn't block. I watched them. The receivers didn't work. They didn't get open. They didn't get the running game going. So you can't put a quarterback out there all by himself and expect him to do it.
Strahan and Arrington each with a sack in the first quarter, totally unblocked. That's the end of the first quarter in Charlotte with the score. The Carolina Panthers 14, the Dallas Cowboys nothing. And Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer in Charlotte. Cowboys on 2nd and 10. Romo throwing to the outside. Len goes up for the catch and is able to haul it in. Makes the catch and is forced out of bounds by Gamble. So the completion, and Romo here on a very important drive down 14-0, trying to get him back into it. 12-yard gain.
You look at this throw, and that's the toughest throw you have to make. It is from the far hash mark to the out. Everyone thinks, it's a deep pass or it's an up or a post or a corner, but it's being on the far hash mark, throwing the ball all the way across the field with velocity on the out. That's the toughest throw you have to make.
Here's Jones. Big hole for him, but it closes quickly. Ken Lucas, we saw him shaken up, and he came out of the game last week in Cincinnati. He's back in the locker room. So on the other side at cornerback, they've got a rookie, Richard Marshall, number 31. Now the question is, can Romo and the Dallas offense exploit that?
Yeah, I would sure try. But having said that, Richard Marshall's a pretty good player. I mean, this guy's not a stiff out there. I watched him, and he has good quickness, and he has a good feel for the game, and they're not going to leave him. He's on Terry Glenn now. He won't be by himself. They're going to give him help somewhere.
Second-round draft choice from Fresno State. And this time it's Glenn, and Marshall was playing him a little soft as Glenn gets taken down at the 13-yard line.
I think anytime you see a corner go out and then that backup come in, you go to work on him. Then when that backup is a rookie, you want to test him out, and that's exactly what they did. You saw Richard Marshall was out there, and Terry Glenn played off a little, and Tony Romo just got him the ball quickly.
First and 10, 13-yard line. Romo is 6 out of 9 for 65 yards. He's also run twice for 14. Gives him that extra dimension with his mobility. Here they give it to Jones. Jones over the left side for a gain of 3 behind an Oliver Hoyt block. And it'll be second down and let's call it 6. They'll spot it at the 9-yard line.
The Cowboys are in what we call the red zone, the red area now inside the 20. And Bill Parcells, John Fox was saying that in this area, he always likes to run the quarterback somewhere. So he said that, they said, what's the difference between Bledsoe and Romo? They always expect quarterback run inside the 20. With Tony Romo, they expect it more.
Second down, make it 7. They'll spot the ball at the 10-yard line. Romo throws over the middle, hits Owens, and Owens will pick up the first down. He gets wrestled down by Gamble. But the ball will be spotted at the 3-yard line, and it will be first and goal for the Dallas Cowboys.
And Tony Romo's had pretty good time here. I talked about the pass protection, but one thing that they're going to help on Julius Peppers. You see the guard and the tackle both take him because he's getting penetration. But I like Tony Romo here. I like the way he reads, and then where he decides where he's going with the ball, boom, it comes out of there quickly.
On the 3, first and goal. Romo for Owens, and that's knocked down. The ball floated, and Richard Marshall is there to bust up the play.
Yeah, that's one thing he'll learn. If you're going to throw that fade, you better throw it to that back pylon. Don't throw it between the pylon. You see here, they get Terrell Owens on Marshall. That's the matchup they want on the rookie, but you have to throw it deep. You have to throw it to the back of the end zone, not the front or middle of the end zone.
And Owens is lucky he wasn't flagged for a face mask there. He had Marshall's face mask in his grasp on the way down. Second down and goal. You've got Glenn in the slot, Witten split to the left, and Owens at the top of the screen to the right. And this time he goes to Witten for the touchdown. Threw it off his back shoulder. Minter with the coverage. You had the safety on the tight end, and a touchdown for Romo and the Cowboys.
I tell you, and that was a quick throw. You talk about a quick throw and release and velocity. That ball went right by Mike Minter. I mean, Minter looked like he was in position. He steps and that thing comes out of there. There's Minter. He throws it right by his outside shoulder, right where the only guy that can catch that one is Jason Witten. I mean, he had him like inside, and he led him to the outside, and he had to turn and make that catch.
Witten's first touchdown reception of the season, followed by a Vanderjagt extra point. Dallas halves the Carolina. Dallas to kick off. 5-yard line. Richard Marshall, who we saw at quarterback, loses the ball. The ball is loose. The Cowboys still can't pick it up, and at the very end, in comes Gaines to recover it at the 11-yard line, the tight end. Oliver Hoyt created the fumble. Dallas had 2 or 3 opportunities to come up with the football, and then Gaines saves the day for Carolina.
And Bill Parcells is still way too calm. Although he wants to see it again and say, what the heck happened? I mean, Marshall is going to learn. We talked about his being a rookie. You're going to learn to put that thing away to protect the ball. You can't leave it hanging out there. And then if you ever have a chance to jump, you just got to jump on it and just smother the thing.
Juggled, and finally Gaines got there. So Carolina backed up at its 11-yard line. 3 minutes into the second quarter, 14-7 Carolina. Foster cuts it back, has some room, and gets banged down at the 17-yard line by the safety Keith Davis. Davis starting tonight, place of Patrick Watkins, the rookie out of Florida State, who'd started every game this season, but they got Marcus Coleman back. He had been suspended. Davis was the starter last year, so Watkins inactive tonight.
Right, and I think it was just Watkins' inexperience that the Cowboy defense was really playing pretty well, but they were giving up too many big plays, and they thought one of the reasons, and again, in any position, you just can't blame one guy, but they thought that, you know, Patrick Watkins had quite a bit to do with some of the big pass plays against him.
Second down and 4. Foster up to the 20-yard line. It'll be third and short, so we'll see what Carolina can do on third and short here. Dan Henning is the offensive coordinator, longtime offensive coordinator, former head coach in the NFL, and a good pal of Bill Parcells, among other people.
Right, he's coached with Bill Parcells, coached against Bill Parcells, and you know, Bill Parcells said he's one of his best friends. He said, I only got about 5 of them, you know, and he said Dan Henning is one of them. And one thing about Dan Henning, he moves guys around a lot. Like he started on that first down going 3 wide receivers, so, you know, spread you out, and then you think it's a pass, and then he runs, and he mixes his ends up. I mean, he mixes his formations up all the time.
Third down and 1. And the pass out here in the flat. That's going to net a first down to Deshaun Foster. And he gets taken out of bounds by Brady James, but they convert for the first time tonight on a third down.
I think Jake Delhomme had been feeling that pressure, that third down conversion thing. And, you know, and he said, because I asked him, I said, is there anything to it? I mean, anything that's constant? He said, no. He said, there's nothing. You look there, he almost fumbled the snap. But then, you know, he gets a fumble snap, gets it out of there, gets it out to his back, and gets a first down, and then can smile about it.
Nick Goings is now in the backfield. Foster comes out, and they give it to Goings. He scored a touchdown on a pass reception last week at Cincinnati. He gets about 2. Steve Smith. Last year, I mean, he did something that sort of got under the radar, but it doesn't happen very often. Tied for the league lead in receptions, led the league in receiving yards, led the league in touchdown receptions. Hadn't happened since our man Sterling Sharp did it with the Packers in '92, and before that, Jerry Rice in '90, and it's the only 3 times it's happened since 1970, since the merger. Pressure, and down he goes in the arms of Greg Ellis. And Ellis tries to extract the ball, but the play is whistled dead. Carolina maintains possession, but Ellis is there for the tackle, a yard behind the line of scrimmage.
You know, Greg Ellis, remember when he was a defensive end and they made him an outside linebacker now, and he's been doing that this whole game. You know, is not only going for the tackle, but always trying to get the turnover, strip the ball. Here he is, the outside guy. He makes a play here. They flush him out, and then as he goes to the ground, he keeps trying to get that ball away from Jake Delhomme.
Even though Delhomme was running for the moment, they do credit him with a sack. And Delhomme now on third down and 9, and that is caught by Chris Mangum, the tight end, and that will be a first down up at the 45-yard line. So all of a sudden, back-to-back conversions here for Carolina, and they move the ball on a drive that started at the 11 out toward the 46-yard line.
Yeah, he had good protection here. And watch the right side. Once you start a stunt like that and you get caught or blocked, that gives the quarterback a lot more time, and it also gives him that side, the right side, to throw the ball. And sometimes when you run a stunt with a tackle in the end cross, you know, it's a good-looking thing, and the guy breaks loose. But if you stone him on the line like that, I'll tell you, that is an ugly-looking pass rush.
Delhomme has completed his last 6 attempts. They got Foster back in here. And he won't go very far. Taken down at the 48-yard line. Marcus Spears, the first guy to handle him.
Yeah, if you just look at that Dallas defense, you see they're playing so much cover 2 where they have their safeties real deep, and that's all about Steve Smith. So when they have those safeties deep, then that means that they only have 7 guys up in front, and what Dan Henning is trying to do is run the ball, throw the short passes to get them out of that cover 2.
Smith to the right side. You've got Newman. Newman only giving him about 2 yards bottom of the screen right there. That's the matchup most of the night. Second down and 8. Delhomme with a spin, hits Smith, and then Smith drops it got inside Newman, but he couldn't hold on. Looking upfield before the ball wound up in his hands. It'll be 3rd down and 8.
Yeah, we're talking about the mixture that the Panthers give. This was a 3 wide receivers, and you see Smith, he makes a little fake to the outside, and he runs a slant to the inside. The one thing he forgot.
5'9", 185 is Steve Smith. As John Fox says, he's small but plays big.
He plays big and he plays strong.
Fox also said what sets him apart, competitive greatness. He always wants the ball. A lot of receivers do. Smith gets it here, and Henry makes a nice tackle, just holding on the 50-yard line. Every receiver says he wants the ball, but the coaches know the guys that really want the ball in crunch time.
Yeah, and then sometimes if things are going well, you like them, and sometimes when things aren't going well, you tell them to shut up. Because they're both the same guy.
Right.
I mean, remember Jerry Rice, and one of the all-time greats, always wanted the ball. Terrell Owens, always wants the ball. Steve Smith always wants the ball. Marvin Harrison, you don't know what he wants, but I imagine he wants the ball, but he never says anything.
He gets a few of them. We'll see him next week. Indy at New England. Baker to punt.
Well, was Indy good today against Denver?
Come from behind win against a Bronco team that has allowed 2 touchdowns all season. Yankees, center, Boston Celtics, quarterback, Dallas Cowboys. And that's what he is right now. The ball is at the 12-yard line, 1st down. Romo to Fasano. A lot of that, of course, has to do with history. Talking to Romo last night. John, how about this week? Last Sunday, I said, "You have a girlfriend?" He said, "Well, I did until last week. She called me and she broke up with me on Sunday." Then on Monday night, he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He just seems to take everything, though, with the flow. He says, with anything new, he said, I'm more aggressive than passive. But he was, as far as ascending to this position, nonplussed coming into tonight's game.
Yeah, but you wonder, how can you be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys and your girlfriend breaks up with you on the phone from Florida?
That's what I was wondering about. 2nd down and 5. Here's Owens. Out of bounds. I mean, you look at, you're out there, you're a single guy. Hey, what do? I'm the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, all right.
Yeah, but the guys don't let him off the hook on that one. It's one of the things that it would say, "Oh, geez, I'm sorry, Tony. I'm sorry, your girlfriend." They say, "Hey, don't worry, she'll call you." And then he's looking at his phone. Did she call? Even last night we were talking, he was looking at his phone. Yeah. She hasn't called me. Well, the guys, anything like that, the pile is open and you're going to pile on.
And we really opened up that pile here by doing this tonight up to the 30-yard line. Jones for a gain of 8. Andrea, we need your advice here.
Well, no, I can pile on a little bit more here because if you grew up in Burlington, Wisconsin, the way Tony Romo did, well, you had to idolize Brett Favre growing up. Well, Marco Rivera, the Cowboys guard, spent 9 years in Green Bay with Favre. So the minute he got to Dallas last year, Romo just peppered him with questions about his idol. What kind of guy is he? What does he like to do? How does he act in the huddle? And Rivera said that Romo, amongst other things, does a great Favre imitation.
2nd down and 3. Off the fake. That buys a ton of time. And then the pass is caught by Patrick Creighton up at the 43-yard line. So he grows up in Wisconsin. He does a great Favre imitation. Would we lie to you?
Stay there.
Chip, almost had me there, Chip. Didn't have him. Come on, Chip. All right.
I hope Brett's watching.
Yeah, sometimes when you copy a guy, you just don't copy one thing about him, you copy everything about him.
Yeah. Here's Jones exploiting a nice hole through the middle. That's a gain of 7. This drive started back at the 12-yard line. It's now 2nd down and 3.
You always want to get your quarterback in a rhythm, and I really feel that Tony Romo is in that rhythm now. And maybe he wanted to be Brett Favre and he watched Brett Favre and all that, but he really, and I hate to say, Joe Montana, but the way that ball comes out of there and his accuracy and velocity, he reminds me a lot of Joe Montana.
3.5 left in the half. You and I have talked, John, about it as Jones gains one. You know, we watched Rex Grossman earlier this year, and you know he hadn't played that much because of injuries, but he had it. We watched Phillip Rivers that night on a Sunday night against Pittsburgh, and he had it. If you were just to take all the numbers off these guys' uniforms, and the guy is watching television tonight, he looks at this quarterback, he thinks, hey, that guy's pretty good. He's probably in the league 6 or 7 years.
He's in the league 4 years, but he hasn't played much, and he's going to be defined in what he does in these situations like this.
3rd down and 2 from the 49-yard line. Well, there again, the look of a guy who knows exactly what he's doing. Pocket breaks down, needs a first down, scrambles for it.
Pretty good definition. You know, I remember John Gruden a couple years ago was saying that a quarterback, when he had Rich Gannon, he said he'd get 5 or 6 first downs on 3rd down like this. And then he said, then I got Brad Johnson, and I really missed that. You don't realize how those plays, like that 3rd down run, keep drives going.
He's got a couple of them going tonight. Jones now has carried the ball 12 times for 51 yards. His brother Thomas, who plays for the Bears, had a 3-figure day today as Chicago routed San Francisco to stay unbeaten. Drew Bledsoe now the backup. We come to the 2-minute warning here in Charlotte. Dallas marching but trailing. Carolina leading 14-7. 2nd down and 7. The ball is at the 43-yard line. 2 minutes to play in the half. Pick up the blitz. Romo going for Owens, but that is on the chalk out of bounds. And it will be Richard Marshall and Mike Minter covering on the play. 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, they tried to get Terrell Owens on Marshall, the rookie, but again, Terrell Owens made that same mistake that he made before. He's too close to the sideline, and when you run and up, you have to give your quarterback, see his outside release, he gets too close, and he doesn't give the quarterback any place to throw the ball. In fact, he's running out of bounds. And that's the 2nd time he's done that in this half, and he knows better than that.
3rd and 7. Romo stepping up in the pocket and then hits Witten. And Witten will take the ball to the 30-yard line. So the tight end, Jason Witten, has been a big factor tonight for the Dallas Cowboys. That's a 14-yard gain.
You know, and that's what the Cowboys are doing that they didn't do Monday night is if they're giving you double coverage in the outside, if they're doing all their coverages to the outside, then work the inside, work the middle, work Witten. You know, maybe get Terrell Owens in the slot and work him in the middle because they're really pressing or taking away those outside deep patterns.
3rd catch for Witten, and he has scored the only Dallas touchdown. 1st down here, and they're going to give the ball to Terry Glenn, but that is sniffed out beautifully by the Panthers. You had 5 black shirts there, led by Richard Marshall, the rookie corner.
Yeah, they didn't have Keyshawn Johnson in there blocking the most dangerous defensive back, and maybe they didn't have Steve Smith running it either because that was the exact same play that the Panthers scored on with Steve Smith.
Dallas only has 1 timeout. They had to take a timeout, then they lost a timeout on the unsuccessful challenge. Clock ticking down to 45 seconds. 2nd and 13. Romo down the left sideline, and that one is out of bounds, intended for Terry Glenn. And again, the coverage is very good. And there's Marshall, the rookie, telling the 11-year guy, Glenn, I had you all the way.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Glenn again is too close to the sideline. I mean, you can't do that. Watch him. They get the inside technique, force him to the outside. Now, where's Tony Romo going to throw that ball? If he does catch it, he's going to be out of bounds anyway. I thought that was a bad call. I mean, if they could get about a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 yard play on that 2nd down, they would be in better field goal range. But I don't think that they had to do that on 2nd down. Those are 2 bad ups in a row.
Right now that field goal range is 50 yards if they don't gain a yard here, but they will. And will not get the first down, though Glenn does get out of bounds at the 21-yard line. So with a half a minute to go, you've got a 4th down and 1. So does Parcells go for a field goal here of about 37 or 38 yards to make it a 4-point game? And that is apparently what he is going to do because he sends Vanderjagt out onto the field.
Yeah, he has fourth down. He has to kick the ball. I think if it were third down, it would be an interesting thing. I mean, do you go get the first down, and then you just try and get a first down and you throw it in the end zone? But I think on fourth down, Bill Parcells did what he had to do.
Vanderjagt earlier missed the 48. And this one, you've got a timeout here. You've got Marshall and Peppers coming in. Peppers known for kick blocking, but Carolina had taken a timeout.
John Fox, the coach, called it. He ran down and he took the timeout before the ball was snapped.
So there, a couple of years ago, a new rule went in that the coach could call a timeout. It used to have to be a player, but you'll see John Fox, bottom of the screen. He calls the timeout. It is granted. The rule went in 2004. There came Marshall from the outside, and you've got Peppers, number 90, who's a kick blocker extraordinaire, who was there as well. But Vanderjagt will now get another opportunity because of Fox's timeout.
I remember last week when Bill Cowher, the Steelers, called one, and then they made the field goal, but it didn't count, and then the next time they missed it. Just the opposite happened here tonight.
Here's a 38-yard attempt, and that one is right down Broadway for Vanderjagt. Here's the kick, 4-yard line. Richard Marshall, who fumbled the last time he ran a kickback. This time he secures it, takes it out to the 27, 19 seconds left. Romo 13 out of 19 for 124 yards and 3 rushes for 17. Has his team back in the game after they were down 14-0. And now the Panthers will let Foster pretty much run out the clock here. But now Carolina will take a timeout and get in another play or two, second and short.
Terrell Owens' his new best friend. And one thing, there's still a lot of football to be played. I mean, if Tony Romo is the real deal and the Cowboys can get one here, they have a pretty good shot.
Timeout taken here. So 8 seconds left. Carolina at the 39-yard line. To the outside they go to Steve Smith, and he's going to step out of bounds. Kind of a funny little drive here. I mean, if you're going to take timeouts and you only have a few seconds left. I mean, here they are at the 47-yard line. Second down with 1 play left, and the only thing you can really hope for here is a Hail Mary or defensive pass interference to set you up in field goal range.
I don't think John Fox has cleared his head yet from taking that timeout when they blocked the field goal.
Might be right. Second and 2 at the 47. And they go to Smith, and that'll look good on the stat sheet, but that's all. And you still have, I mean, the clock looks like it's in a molasses pot. 2 seconds. Well, they're going to set up a John Casey. This would have to be a 65-yard attempt. So you'd have a new NFL record here. Last week you had a 62-yarder. The record is 63 by Tom Dempsey and Jason Elam. This would be an NFL record of 65 yards. Instead, you're going to get a run back here or a fumble as Aaron Glenn, and Bill Parcells' heart is in his throat right now. I think he just wants to see Glenn just go down. Andrea Kramer with you. Season reaching the halfway mark. Talking with Bill Parcells yesterday, one of the things he said is, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going into this game with a big degree of uncertainty. They've seen just about everything. His team was down 14-0, but now it's 14-10, and they're going to get the ball as Aaron Glenn's going to run the kickback. Tyson Thompson had gotten hurt, and Glenn is down at the 21-yard line. Glenn hurt his ankle, so you've got the run back there. Christian Morton with the tackle, and we go to Andrea.
Well, I asked John Fox why he took the timeout at the end of the half when the field goal was blocked. He said, we thought we had too many men on the field, but we counted and they only had 11. Now, as for cornerback Ken Lucas, he is out for the rest of the game with a groin injury. Now, I talked to Bill Parcells. I said, how's Tony Romo doing? He said, we just want him to speed up the tempo of the game. We're very happy with the way we're moving the ball. We spotted them in 14, but we got back 10. We can move the ball on them. We're getting plenty of yards.
And Romo threw for 124 yards in the first half, 13 of 19, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Here's Julius Jones. Jones has now carried 13 times for a total of 53 yards. Then we'll check out some of the numbers through the first 30 minutes of play. Rushing about equal. Dallas a little bit more through the air and in total yardage. And the time of possession. Carolina, of course, was able to capitalize on the turnover, the interception, also the shorter field because of the Vanderjagt field goal for their 2 scores. 2nd and 10. Romo stepping up. There's a flag. Owens makes the catch, and with that spin move picks up the first down. But you saw the flag come in. Scott Green is the referee tonight.
Dave, the penalties are really killing the Cowboys and Tony Romo because this will be the 3rd
75
one.
offense. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Mark Colombo trying to block Peppers, and all of them have negated big gains.
Right, and good plays by Tony Romo. Here's Colombo right here against Peppers, and you see he has the right hand on the face mask. See, stuff like that happens in those trenches. I mean, that kind of thing happens all the time. I mean, poor old Mark Colombo, he's fighting for his life out there against Julius Peppers. That's why they keep the tight end on that side a lot too, to give him help in this situation.
2nd and 20. Romo hanging right in and guns it over the middle. Throws a strike to Terry Glenn, who's tackled by Mike Minter, but that's a gain of 21 and a first down for the Cowboys.
Yeah, they've been setting that play up where they move Terry Glenn around, and that time you see him, he came out of the backfield. And they had done that in the first half, but remember in the first half how they were trying to work those ups and stuff, and the Panthers are taking it away. So now they put Terry Glenn inside, put him in the backfield, run him out of the backfield on an inside pass route. That has to be there.
They don't throw to their backs, but they will throw to a guy coming out of the backfield. Here is Jones chugging up to the 35 for a gain of 3. 2nd down and 7.
They were talking about Tony Romo and what he adds to this team, and it's not always throwing and play calling, but it's being able to get first downs like this. I mean, sometimes you have to move in the pocket, sometimes you have to bootleg, but sometimes you have to run for first down. That throw there, when you throw from the far hash mark and out, the toughest throw you have to make. So I've been impressed with everything that Tony Romo's done.
Hangs in again under pressure. Here's Owens, and Owens is able to hand check Minter and pick up the first down.
And you notice a new life in Terrell Owens. I mean, I felt, last week that he didn't have a lot of life in him, that he wasn't really working real hard, but he's a playmaker. When he doesn't get the ball, he does get frustrated. And he wants the ball, and it looks like Tony Romo understands that, and he's going to find a way to get him the ball. We've seen Terry Glenn in the backfield. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere we see Terrell Owens backfield.
And as you saw, he ties Michael Irvin and Charlie Joyner, 750 career catches, and there's 751, but that's not a particularly memorable one because he loses yardage on it. And Richard Marshall, who took over for the injured Ken Lucas at the right corner spot, makes the hit.
That is socks knocked off. That's the thing that they try and do that spot pass when the corner is way off, and you can just hit him out there with the ball quickly and let him run and gain 8 or 10 yards before the corner can get there. But on that time, Marshall was just too tight on him.
2nd down and 10. The ball is at the 45-yard line. Good fake, rolling right, chased by Peppers, gets away from him, and turns what would have been a sack into a little bit of a gain as he gets it up to the 46-yard line. We were talking to Bill Parcells last night, who said, as we mentioned, a great degree of uncertainty. So he said, would you make, barring an injury, a quarterback change again in the middle of this game? And Bill looked at us and he said, it's real simple. Unless Romo's in the hearse, he's in.
Right, he's going to, I mean, he's his guy, and he's going to go with him, and he's put all his chips in his pocket, and that's what he's going to do. But and the thing that bothers was the unknown. I mean, you know what he does in practice, you know what he does in preseason, but you don't know what he does as a starter.
Julius Peppers just injured his hand and came out after the last play when Romo spun away from him, and then Romo buys time, but nobody is there. And it'll be 4th down, and the punting group comes in.
But that's the thing that Romo can do. We showed where he can, just stay in the pocket and throw the ball. We showed where he could move a little and throw it. We showed where he could run and get a first down. And that was just buying a little time in the pocket to let his guy get deep. Didn't work, but he did have a shot at a big play on that 3rd down.
Sammy Baugh holds the NFL record. 51.4-yard punting average back in 1940. McBriar is chasing it. He's averaging 50.5. And this one will bounce at the 1, but bound into the end zone.
It's
3rd and 5 is DeLome. Pulls it down, and then the pass is incomplete. The crowd wants a flag. They don't get one. DeLome pleads the case, and then it comes in at the very end. It came in about 5 or 6 seconds later. Anthony Henry with the coverage. Bill Parcells last night, when we asked him who's been your best defensive players this year, he mentioned one guy. He said Anthony Henry.
Well, the other guy was DeMarcus Ware, and I think that he thought that Anthony Henry has been very consistent.
Number 20, number 41, 1st down.
I said 41, which is Newman, but involved in the play was Anthony Henry, 42.
Right there, and you see that he just has a hold of him off the line. Now you can jam him 5 yards off the line, but then you have to let him go. And I think he did. I think he had to jam a little longer than he should have, and then at the end of the jam he grabbed it.
But he politicked, DeLome did, because that flag came in a good 5 seconds after the play. 31-yard line, 1st down. DeLome throws, and the catch is made by Keyshawn Johnson, covered by Aaron Glenn, and Keyshawn was able to come back, stop, and make the grab, his first catch of the night.
And with Keyshawn Johnson, even Bill Parcells was saying last night, he said it looks like Jake Delhomme is realizing now that he doesn't have to be open to throw him the ball. And if you watch Keyshawn Johnson here, he isn't open on this one. But he is so big, and he uses his body so well, and he could put his body in one place and make your body go to another place that he can catch those kinds of passes.
Glenn kept running, and Johnson stopped and makes the catch, and the ball is at the 50-yard line. 8:15 to play in the 3rd. Foster to the outside. Talked before about the fact that the Panthers don't run very much outside. In fact, between the tackles, they run the ball a larger percentage of the time than any team in the league.
Well, you know what they were doing there? They go 3 wide receivers, and they get the Cowboys in nickel or 5 defensive backs, get one of the linebackers out of there, so then it's a little easier to run. And they've been trying to run inside, and that time they tried to get an edge out there. Now the Cowboys, in this situation, have 6 defensive backs.
2nd and 5 at the Dallas 45-yard line. Four-man rush. They get to DeLome, but he gets it off. And the pass intended for Keyshawn Johnson is incomplete, with Terrence Newman covering on the play this time.
Yeah, he had Terrence Newman beat there, because Newman, you watch him, he's looking inside. He lets Keyshawn gets to the outside, and then by the time he relocates him, Keyshawn is beyond him, and he didn't look back at the ball. That should have been pass interference.
Right, and that's what Johnson was pleading that case.
Yeah, because you have to look back to the ball or try and make a play on the ball, not including your rear end.
Timeout taken here. It's 3rd down and 5. DeLome to the sideline. Timeout Carolina halfway through the 3rd. And the timeout. 3rd down and 5 now for the Panthers. Blitz on. Penalty flag thrown. Steve Smith can't get there. Penalty at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's been one constant for this Cowboy defense is they've been blitzing almost every third down against the Panthers.
Come on, Tony. Offsides.
Come on, Tony.
Number 94, 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's DeMarcus Ware. And so instead of it being fourth down, here's a first down at the 40-yard line.
There's DeMarcus Ware. You see the blitz is going to be up on top, and it says that he just jumped into the neutral zone. The neutral zone, of course, is the football, the length of the football. The guy that called that was the official on this side, Tony Viteri Jr.
Yep. That was the Tony, and come on, Tony. Looks like he might have lined up in the neutral zone. At the 40-yard line, a little toss back to Foster to the outside, and he gets taken down by Anthony Henry. Gain of 2, maybe 3. Second down and 7 now at the 37-yard line.
You remember Tony Viteri Sr.?
Yes.
Yeah, he was an official in the league. I mean, his dad, this is Tony Jr. I saw him at our hotel. The officials were staying at our hotel and said to say hello to his dad. His dad was, you know, probably as a coach in the NFL, you shouldn't have a favorite official, but Tony Viteri Sr. was always one of my favorites.
Now
don't ask why.
Well, you can tell the truth now.
Yeah, well, you say I hated that guy, but no, I like Tony Viteri Sr.
Second down and 7 at the 37-yard line. And that's behind Foster, and he can't make the catch. Covered on the play by Brady James. It'll be third down and 7.
You know, a lot of times you get into stats, and it's, you know, third down conversions. We haven't been good. We haven't been, you know, consistent. But sometimes it's a bad play on first down, or sometimes like that play, it's a bad play on second down that puts you into a third and longer situation. And again, I would anticipate that in this situation, the Cowboys would blitz.
You got Johnson split right. You've got Smith in the slot to the left, and Drew Carter wide to the left. Will the Cowboys come? Yes, they do. DeLone throws, and it's dropped. It's Keyshawn Johnson, who had beaten Anthony Henry. Clearly for a first down, maybe for a touchdown, and Keyshawn simply couldn't hold on to it.
Yeah, they had the perfect play for the perfect situation. They knew the Cowboys were going to blitz. Here comes Roy Williams on the outside of the blitz. Keyshawn gets by his guy. The ball is perfectly thrown, and he drops it. I mean, those are the things that as a coach just drive you crazy. You know, you set it up, you have the right play, you get it blocked up, and then you drop the ball.
Beautiful little inside move to spring him. Now Jason Baker into punt. High floating kick. Fair caught 13-yard line by Patrick Creighton. On the offensive gang back to work. The ball is at the 13-yard line. Jones. You know, it's amazing. Tony Romo played at Eastern Illinois, small football school, 1AA. They have only one player in the league from Eastern Illinois right now, and there he is. But there are 3 head coaches from Eastern Illinois. Mike Shanahan, Brad Childress up at Minnesota, Sean Payton with New Orleans. And there was Mike and Sean in their days as Panthers. That's what they were. The Eastern Illinois Panthers.
Good coaches. You know, there was a time in the NFL that you never looked at anyone that come from a college that had East in front of it.
Yeah, this is Terrell Owens up to the 31 picking up the first down. They always talked about Miami of Ohio as the cradle of coaches. Well, right now in the NFL, Eastern Illinois is the cradle of coaches.
And on that last pass, he looked like he came from the cradle of coaches and the cradle of a quarterback. I watch him here. It's a little rollout to that side, and his release. I love that release. I mean, that's the thing in pro football that you have to have. You have to be able to make a decision and get the ball out of there quickly.
And there goes Jones with some tough running up to the 45-yard line. Anthony Fasano, the tight end, led the blocking. So from the 13, they moved it out almost to midfield, ball at the 45.
Yeah, we always talk about the game being won in the pits. I mean, it's the offensive line against the defensive line, and now is the time I think that those battles are most important. I mean, you kind of spar the first and second quarter, then you get into the third quarter, close to the fourth quarter. Now it's which lines dominate.
They're doing a real good job pass protecting tonight. You've got a flag here coming in from the back judge, so the penalty would figure to be, and it is, against Carolina in the secondary, and that's going to be an automatic first down for Dallas. But was the ball tipped is now the question, because if it was tipped, then the flag gets picked up.
And Carolina tips a lot of passes.
Number 20, 5-yard penalty, first down.
But there's no tip, at least none that was discernible to any of the officials, and that's on Gamble.
Well, see what he could do. I mean, they could have called the illegal shot before the ball was thrown. You know, so it's just a 5-yard penalty. You see Gamble right here. Oh, geez, that's not much at all, is it? I mean, if they can't do that, they can't play. That was that. Yeah.
Either that or he gave the wrong number.
Yeah, that was bad. That was nothing on Gamble there.
First down, 50-yard line. Romo to the outside, and that's caught by Fasano, the tight end out of Notre Dame, rookie picked in the second round.
You know, I'm talking about the offensive line, and Mark Colombo has really done a good job, Al. I thought that would be a mismatch. I mean, he had to block Julius Peppers, and Julius Peppers, one of the best pass rushers in the league, and I thought Colombo, had been a little soft at that position, that right tackle, but he hasn't been soft tonight. I mean, he's been going after Peppers, and that's been a pretty good battle, and Colombo has won his share of them.
He got schooled by Strahan last week. Here is Jones through the middle to the 42-yard line.
Well, a couple of those things I think were just missed pass protections. I mean, at one time they had a blitz on, and Colombo blocked down and just let Strahan come. So part of it was physical. I mean, this offensive line on Monday night against the Giants wasn't physical at all. They got whipped. Tonight they're a lot more physical.
Romo's been sacked only once.
Part of that is the offensive line, and maybe a bigger part of that is Romo.
Shotgun, 3rd and 2. Romo throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Owens. And Owens, with a flag down, was covered by the linebacker, the former Green Bay Packer Niall Diggs. Flag at the 44-yard line, which is 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Offense. Number 62. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
Marco Rivera.
When Drew Bledsoe was the starting quarterback, Terry Glenn was kind of his guy. And don't you get the feeling tonight that maybe with Tony Romo that Terrell Owens is his guy? If there's someone you have to, and again, you just can't watch one guy and throw to him. You don't do that in pro football, but you kind of have a guy that if you can, you're going to get the ball to him.
He's thrown to Owens 8 times, to Glenn 4 times. Meanwhile, Steve Smith goes back to return this kick, which is a wobbly end-over-end punt that Smith is going to collect at the 2-yard line. Not many guys do that, but when you're Steve Smith, you can take a chance, and Smith brings it back out to the 18-yard line. You don't see very many punts fielded at the 2-yard line. 3:14 left in the third. 4-point game. Carolina leads. Delhomme goes back on first down and throws and finds the open man, who is Steve Smith. Got into a seam in the middle. Spins the ball at the 45-yard line, and they'll mark it down at the 40 for a first down, a 22-yard gain.
Yeah, and that's what they had to do. I mean, they had Steve Smith out here, and they were using that cover 2, and he was doubled all the time. And this is one way to get away from it. Instead of running up and running into that safety, run up and then run in. So you're away from the corner, and you're in front of the safety that is double covering you.
Ball at the 40-yard line. Toss back Foster. Some room to the outside to the 45. We go to Andrea.
Well, at the end of the last drive, after the incompletion of Keyshawn Johnson on 3rd down, a frustrated Johnson came off the field. He said to Jake Delhomme, "Look, I lost the ball in the lights." Delhomme said, "I understand." But he pointed at him and said, "It's okay, because I'm going to come right back to you."
Good eavesdropping.
Maybe he was just kidding, though, too. Because he didn't. He went right back to Steve Smith.
2nd down and 5. The ball at the 45-yard line. Foster. And gets by Ware, but then help arrives in the form of Brady James and Chris Canty.
You see what Roy Williams did to Keyshawn Johnson that time? Keyshawn Johnson had blocked Roy Williams, who's a real tough guy. He had blocked him on that touchdown. And that time Keyshawn went in to block him, kind of standing straight up. And Roy Williams just knocked him right on his back. But you just see, here's Keyshawn right here, and he's going to go up to block Roy Williams right here. Doink. He sent old Keyshawn right back where he came from.
Practiced against each other last couple of years when Keyshawn was with the Cowboys. 3rd down and 3. And Delhomme sends one into the night sky that is incomplete, intended for Chris Mangum. High floating pass.
And Roy Williams was right there, and he threw that right in the area where the lights get in their eyes, huh?
I guess. Same spot where relative area where Keyshawn couldn't handle it. In comes Jason Baker to punt. 5th punt of the night for the Carolina kicker. Patrick Creighton to run it back. Creighton fields at the 16-yard line. Dumped at the 23-yard line. Al Michaels, John Madden, Andrea Kramer on 1st and 10 at the end of the 3rd here, and Romo has that one knocked away by Kimiatu, the former Baltimore Raven, number 99, who was picked up in the offseason.
Yeah, I think the Panthers every year lead football in knock balls and tip balls and those kinds of things, because their defensive linemen, first of all, to get tip balls, you have to get a pretty good push. And they get a good push, then make that guy step up, and then the tackles, as they're getting the push, when the ends come around, the tackles just have to get their hands up. And they do an excellent job of that.
Shotgun as they empty the backfield, and there's action on the left side of the offensive line with Chris Jenkins coming across, and Scott Green checking with the officials to see if he was induced. You have 3 different flags, so did each of the guys see it the same way?
When Chris Jenkins starts going, there's no stopping him.
That's right.
I mean, he is the biggest man I think I've ever seen. Well, I don't know that, but he is a big man. He's not a fat guy. I mean, he's a big guy, and he's probably about 15 or 20 pounds more right now than he was when he was really dominant.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense. Number 77. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
I mean, just lining up, he's going to, have some neutral zone infractions.
Right.
It's hard to keep it all on one side of the ball.
Pretty tough to jump back on side.
But I tell you, he does, and he gets penetration there, and that really helps the run. The other thing is that stunt when Mike Rucker, the defensive end, comes inside and he gets a push. That is really tough to block.
The 5 receivers in this set. Romo out of the shotgun. Romo has time. Romo hits Witten. And Witten takes it out to the 41-yard line. So Jason Witten makes his 4th grab of the night. Owens has caught 8. Glenn has caught 4. Witten now 4.
Yeah, Tony Romo told us last night that he was going to do some of that. They were going to do some of that empty backfield. And he said, I tell you, when I get in it, we're going to get rid of the ball quickly. I mean, it's not going to be one thing where you go empty and you don't have an extra pass protector in there. You spread them out. You're not going to stand back here and hold the ball.
1st and 10. They've got Marion Barber, who normally plays on 3rd down, in the game on 1st down here. But Boyd is the fullback, and they toss it to Barber. Son of the former New York Jet, up to the 48-yard line, and that'll take us down to the end of the 3rd quarter. Good game. Carolina led early 14-0. Dallas has scored 10 unanswered points. 15 minutes of regulation left in Charlotte. 14-10 Panthers. In the 4th quarter for Drew Bledsoe, an unusual position. 70 straight starts. That's over 4 years worth of games. Of course, a lot of those in Buffalo after he had left New England, then with Dallas. But this is Tony Romo's team at the moment. So Bledsoe with the jacket on as we start the 4th quarter. It is 2nd down and 4 for the Cowboys, who trail 14-10. Marion Barber is the running back. He just carried for 6 on the last play of the 3rd quarter. Now he starts the 4th. with a run that should be good for a first down at the 48-yard line. Let's go to Andrea.
Well, you're talking about Drew Bledsoe now. Before the game, he told me, I don't like or agree with this decision, but he said anybody that's lucky enough to play pro football can't complain about these circumstances. He said for 14 years, he's been lucky enough to look back and not hang his head about anything. He would not wrap it up in any way, and he said in a different role, but he's going to do everything he can to help his team win now.
And he said that's the last time you'll hear me talk about it. And for Bledsoe, as Romo goes back and throws, and that pass is incomplete. And it might be the end of his career. I mean, at this particular point, he's been in the league since '93. But as usual, and we've known him through the years, John, he takes the high road, and he did tonight.
Right, and he has a lot of pride, and he's been a great quarterback, and he's not going to be a backup. I mean, if someone wanted Drew Bledsoe as a starter, maybe he would play longer, but I don't see him playing after this year unless he's guaranteed to be a starter. He's not going to sit around and hold a clipboard.
2nd and 10. The ball is at the 48-yard line. Romo. The open man is Witten again. So Witten, having his best game of the season, takes it to the 22-yard line. That's a 26-yard gain.
And that's the advantage of having Terry Glenn on one side and Terrell Owens on the other side. You do have stuff in the middle. You see that safety was going out there to get out there to the wide receivers. Julius Peppers, a defensive end, he's dropping back in a zone dog. But the zone, because they're so conscious of the two outside wide receivers, they leave a lot of stuff open in the middle.
They're wrapping some tape around the midsection of Julius Jones unless Barber is in the game. Again, Barber is normally the 3rd down back. Carrying on 1st down here. Carried at the end of the 3rd quarter. Takes the ball to the 19-yard line. That's a gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
The one thing about Marion Barber, and the reason that he's in there on 3rd down, he's a good pass protector. He's a good pass receiver, but also a good pass protector. And when you get down into this area, this red zone, you have to think blitz. You have to think that either on this 2nd down or on the 3rd down, you're going to get a blitz.
2nd and 8 out of the shotgun. Romo, a lot of time, dumps it off to Barber underneath. And Barber will get inside the 15 before he is finally knocked down by Chris Gamble, close to a 1st down.
Yeah, big play there by Marion Barber. I mean, a lot of times they say, hit that underneath guy and he'll get the 1st down for you. He didn't, but he has to make a play like that. I mean, if you have to come to that check down guy, that short guy like Barber here, now after he catches it, he has to make 6 or 7 yards or get you in that 1st down position or close to it.
3rd and inches. And Barber gets the 1st down. And Barber takes the ball inside the 10, and the flag comes in at the end of the play. Owens' expression indicating it's going to go against Dallas.
And Mike Minter's expression is going to go against Dallas.
Holding. Offense. Number 81. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, that's why Owens was gesturing the way he was.
I mean, and you like those wide receivers to block, and you like them to get out there in front, but you can't have them hold. I mean, I mean, it's not that big a thing. You don't have to do that. Just get your hands off him. That's not that big a block anyway. And he did hold him. No, but he didn't have to. I mean, just use your body, shield him off, do something, but keep your hands to yourself.
So instead of a 1st down, another very costly penalty. Every time Dallas has had an offensive penalty tonight, it's been in a key situation to negate a long or an important game.
They put Tony Romo in some tough situations.
3rd down and 7. The ball is at the 19-yard line. Panthers show blitz. Did they come across the line? Romo clapping his hands as if to indicate they came across, but the officials say no.
And that's the blitz that I was talking about. You knew you were going to get it on 2nd or 3rd down. If you didn't get it on 2nd, you're probably going to get it on 3rd.
Center. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That's Gerard.
Sometimes they'll start, any movement, anytime you start that ball, you have to bring it all the way.
Yep. Just a little flinch. If you have the ball, you can't do it. And you'll see that's going to be the case here. Well, barely perceptible.
I don't know exactly what he did.
I'm not sure either. Third down and 12. The ball is at the 24-yard line. Romo back under center with the crowd roaring. Tony steps away, moves the shoulders, throws, caught 10-yard line. Jason Witten. I mean, that's a play a great veteran quarterback makes. Feels the pressure. Here comes the defense. Move the shoulders. Fired over the middle. Strike. First down.
That's the exact thing I think Bill Parcells was looking for. You're going to get some pass rush, but be able to get away from it right there, buy some more time, and find that. I mean, that is a big, big, big play by Tony Romo.
First and goal. That was a 16-yard gain on a 3rd and 12. Now you've got Barber, who gets stood up at the 7-yard line.
I think the Cowboys are doing a lot of, they're using a fullback, so they have a lead block for their running, and it's been Oliver Hoyt, the fullback, but it's also been Anthony Fasano. They've had like 3 or 4 different guys in that fullback position, and they've been able to get some power and some leads because of it.
Parcells saying last year that position's becoming extinct. Not yet.
Right, and Anthony Fasano is listed as a tight end, but Parcells will tell you he's really a fullback.
Second and goal. Romo to the outside, and that is caught there by Fasano. But he's going to be taken down at the 8-yard line, so that's a loss. Chris Gamble with the tackle.
A good tackle by Chris Gamble, and that's what, you know, today's corners in the NFL have to be tacklers, because offenses can force you to tackle. I mean, they can run that toss out there and crack and make you be the force guy and support guy, or they can just throw that quick one out there and make you make the tackle, or it's a touchdown.
3rd and 6, ball spotted at the 6, and Parcells says this play is too important. 3rd down and goal. Fake to Barber. To his left he goes, and then the pass is off the hand of Witten. So he went Witten's way again. Thomas Davis, the linebacker, covering. And Carolina will still have the lead, even if Vanderjagt's field goal is good.
And you like what the Cowboys are doing here. You see Witten here. That's the best matchup. I mean, when you can get your tight end on a linebacker, that's the way you want to go. I mean, if they're doubling other people, if they're going to leave a tight end on, a linebacker on Witten, then you have to go to him.
24-yard attempt. Romo holds. Vanderjagt's kick is good. So it's a 1-point game. 9:52 left in the 4th. 14-13. Bouncing kick, fielded inside the 10-yard line, and going back to get it was Brad Hoover, and the ball is loose at the 15-yard line. And the Dallas Cowboys have recovered. So the kick bouncing around, and again, Carolina with trouble on a run back. They recovered one before back at their 11-yard line, and this time it's Sam Hurd. Now the question is, was his knee down? And there's nobody more interested in this right now than Mr. John Fox.
I think every time there's a fumble now in the National Football League, we have to look for an excuse that it's not a fumble. Looks like Hoover's knee, it looks like it was down before the ball comes out. There's the knee is down now. And I don't know where the ball is.
Well, I think it's very close, and you're going to get
Carolina
a challenge.
Is challenging the ruling on the field.
This is going to be a really very close call here, because we've been looking at it. Here comes Green.
The ruling on the field stands. Carolina is charged with a second timeout.
We were looking at it during the commercial break, and there's not enough evidence to overturn. Remember, the ruling on the field was a fumble. The ball is coming out. The question is, was his knee down? And you never see if the knee was down before the ball was pulled out by Sam Hurd, number 17, who also recovered it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to protect the ball, and I like to see that. I mean, if a guy fumbles, it's a doggone fumble. It's now it seems like with instant replay, we always want to find out why it wasn't a fumble. And you look and you look and you look. And I'd like to get back in football where a fumble is a fumble, and that was a fumble.
That was a fumble. Julius Jones is back in the game. Jones, a burst through the middle into the end zone. And the Dallas Cowboys have erased a 14-point deficit and lead 19-14.
Boy, Julius Jones hit that thing in there, didn't he?
Boy. Well, so each team now, after a big turnover, Steve Smith, a run for a touchdown earlier on one play, and then after the fumble here, Julius Jones, the burst through the middle, straight to the end zone.
Well, it said Kyle Kozar starts on a double and then gets up to the linebacker in the second level. That's what you have to do. Get that nose tackle, get him out of there, and then get up on your linebacker. And Kyle Kozar on that play got a twofer.
And now with the score 19-14, mathematics tells you a 2-point conversion is in order to make it a 1-touchdown game instead of a 2-field-goal game. Tony Romo out of the shotgun for the 2-point conversion. Fake draw, throws, converts to Owens for 2 points. So Terrell Owens now makes it a 7-point game, 21-14. Kickoff fielded by Richard Marshall. He had a Fresno State to the 26-yard line. Let's go back to the 2-point conversion. And some great deception here by Romo.
Right, I know that the Panthers were playing quarterback draw. So he goes up, fakes like he's going to run the quarterback draw, comes back and throws it to Terrell Owens. In fact, did you see Julius Peppers there? He started back in. He was playing quarterback draw. And then so Romo said, that's what you want. We'll think it. Now there's the old giant nose tackle, Jim Burt. What about the 10 guys that called Bill Parcells last week? I'm sure Jim Burt was one of them.
The pass is dropped by Michael Gaines. How about that little love tap from Parcells to the player?
You know, the player is a playmaker.
2nd and 10 at the 26-yard line. 9.5 left in regulation. Under pressure, Delhomme escapes, and then Foster drops it out in the flat. And the crowd gets angry.
Yeah, Jake Delhomme's getting frustrated, too, because it's those types of things, you know, again, we go back to the 3rd down, that a bad play on 2nd down will a lot of times put you in a tough situation on 3rd down, and it's doing exactly that right here.
5 drops by the Panthers tonight. 3rd and 10. In Carolina, last in the league in 3rd down conversions. Tonight overall, 2 out of 7.
I don't know that he's gone back to Keyshawn Johnson yet, has he, since he dropped that one?
No. He said he was. There's Johnson in motion. 3 receivers to the right. Delhomme looking that way. Delhomme sends one to the sideline, and then that's incomplete. And you've got Johnson and Carter both in the same area.
Yep, the Panthers are getting frustrated now. And I think, you know, you drop a ball, you get 3rd and long, you have 2 guys running the same area. You know, when you have that, one of the guys ran the wrong pattern. And I'll tell you, it is frustrating the heck out of Jake Delhomme.
And about 65,000 others as well. Jason Baker to punt. Terrence Newman this time back. Rotating return men for Dallas depending on the situation. 21-yard line. Newman. And he gets taken down after a run back of 5. They'll spot him up at the 26-yard line, tackled by Diggs. 9:09 to go in Charlotte. Cowboys. Tony Romo in his starting debut as the Cowboy quarterback begins this drive from the 26. And Jones will carry to the 28-yard line, tackled there by Thomas Davis. Gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
Yeah, this is where Bill Parcells likes to, you know, get the lead, slow the game down, run the ball, you know, get some first downs, those kinds of things. But when you do that, again, you have to get first down. So, you know, whether he'll come back and run again on 2nd down, I'm not sure, because he's at 2nd and 8. Now, if this was 2nd and 5, I know he'd run on this down.
Jones has carried 19 times for 86 yards. So a little over 4 yards a carry. You got Jason Witten being pointed at.
False start. Offense. Number 82. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
A little flinch there. Cowboys have now been penalized 9 times for 86 yards.
You know, and part of that, and not making an excuse for the Cowboys that jump, but part of that is when you have a different quarterback in there, he has a little different rhythm in his cadence. You know, and you get used to one guy and you anticipate the cadence, you anticipate the count, and then you get a new guy in there and you're anticipating the old guy's count.
2nd and 13. And Owens was the intended receiver. He was blanketed by Gamble, setting up a 3rd down and 13 now.
Yeah, and if they're going to pass now, they ought to go back to the middle, because that's what they're just taking away, those outside receivers on the outside. So they have to get them in the inside and in the middle like they did before, or go to Whitten in the middle. Because the Panther defense has really done a good job of taking away Terrell Owens when he's been outside like this, and Terry Glenn when he's been outside like that up on top.
4 receivers set. Barber flanks Romo in the backfield, and again you got a whistle before the snap. It's Flozell Adams and Mike Rucker this time matched up.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 93. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So that's Rucker.
I tell you, we haven't heard a lot of Mike Rucker tonight, and Mike Rucker is a good player, but you know, Flozell Adams, I mean, he's kind of been up and down, and people have been on him, but Flozell has done a good job tonight blocking out there at left tackle, because most of the help has gone to the other side, Mark Colombo on Julius Peppers, and he's kind of been out here all alone with Mike Rucker, and he's done a good job.
3rd and 8 now from the 28. They blitz. That line again does a good job. And the catch is made by Owens, who gets free at midfield before he steps out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Chris Gamble had him and lost him.
Well, that's the thing. They kind of hit him. They have him stacked right here. See, he's the front guy, and they have the 2 receivers there. So he starts on a stack. He's a front guy like an I formation. Starts like he's going inside. Gamble falls down, and then he goes back outside to the corner. I was saying they were having a tough time getting the outside receivers open when they kept him outside, but that was a good way to get him open.
28-yard gain. Owens in his first game as a Cowboy over 100 yards tonight. And then Jones gets knocked back by Chris Draft for a loss. Owens has now caught 9 passes and the 2-point conversion, which doesn't count in those numbers. And they've thrown to him 16 times.
Well, that's pretty good, and that's what he's been saying all the time. He says, when I make my case, and I'm not sure exactly who I should make it to, but I just want to be a playmaker. I just want to get the ball in my hands, and if that's complaining, if that's being a bad guy, okay, so be it. But that's what I want.
In effect, they've thrown to him on about 45% of their pass plays tonight. 2nd and 13. Jones now to the 44-yard line.
I think he's working a lot more than he's used to be working, because, as you said, he's been a big part of their offense. And on that last play, they brought him in darn near to a tight end position. He was a blocker. Watch this. They bring him in, and he's going to block Julius Peppers right there. He had to hold him, too, didn't he?
3rd and 10. Less than 6.5 now in regulation from the 44-yard line. 4-man rush. Romo finally gets taken down. Mike Rucker, the first guy to get there, number 93, and then he gets finished off at midfield.
Right, I was just saying what a good job Flozell Adams was doing, and Mike Rucker just ran right by him. There's just a speed rush. You're just going to see him here. Boom! He just goes right by Flozell. And, he tries to just push him to the outside. He has his feet in terrible position, and he just beat him with quickness.
Adams looking inside at first. Rucker around the edge for the sack. McBriar into punt. Smith to run it back. He fielded, Smith did, the last time he was back there, a punt at the 2-yard line.
He's going to return anything.
Yep, and he's a guy who can. And this is a line drive that he can't handle at the 6-yard line. The ball is loose again, and it is all the Panthers can do to maintain possession as Richard Marshall, who lost a fumble earlier, is there this time to save the day, at least for the moment, because that could have written a finish to this one.
Well, you talk about shooting yourself in the foot. The Panthers have really shot themselves in the foot in special teams in this area. I mean, these kinds of things. Remember the Hoover fumble, this play, the other play that you were talking about, the other fumble, and it's not offense as much as the special teams has been getting them.
So Carolina backed up to its own 2-yard line with 5.5 to go. Delhomme out of the end zone to throw. To the outside to Foster. He'll get 3. Taken down at the 5. Tackled by Anthony Henry. Delhomme is no stranger to late comebacks. 9 fourth-quarter touchdown passes to take his team from trailing to leading since the 2003 season. Best in the league. 14 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter or overtime. Most in the league since the 2003 campaign.
They just haven't been able to put any drives together in this second half.
As John Fox told us the other day, we haven't put a complete game together. And they haven't tonight either. 2nd down and 6. Delhomme under pressure, throws into traffic, and it is picked off by Roy Williams. Double coverage along the far sideline, and Roy Williams was there on a pass intended for Keyshawn Johnson.
Right, and that's at cover 2, you know, where the corner comes up on the wide receiver, the safety comes over, Roy Williams being the safety or the deep guy on that cover 2. Jake Delhomme really didn't throw that one. He had to get rid of the ball because he had a pretty good pass rush on him. And look, see, he goes play action pass here, and now he has to kind of step sideways to throw that. Didn't get a lot on it. There's the double coverage. You see the short guy, and you see the deep guy, Roy Williams, catching the ball and staying in bounds.
Just staying in bounds. Just.
But the Cowboys have been in that cover 2 all night on 1st and 2nd down.
Ball to 32. Too late for any challenge. They wouldn't have won it anyway. Here's a flag. And a face mask.
You know, Bill Parcells is kind of a different guy tonight than the Cowboys are a different team tonight than they were on Monday night.
Yep.
And they're a lot more aggressive. They're going after
Personal
things.
Foul, face mask, defense, number 90. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
Well, Bill doesn't have a party hat on tonight, but last week, as we said, I thought he was a cross between disconsolate and exasperated. Tonight, better.
Yeah, and frustrated and not upset, where that comes in there. I think that, you know, those 10 phone calls he got and the letters and stuff, I think that was about that. You know, we like to see you get mad. We like to see you get frustrated. We like to see you get on guys. Jim Burt comes down here to be in the sideline to remind them, hey, yell at these guys the way you used to yell at me.
Right now, the frustration is on the other side, and the Panthers are in a big hole right now because the Cowboys can chew some of the clock here, and Carolina has only 1 timeout plus the 2-minute warning. And there's Jones. So Carolina really up against it now. They had to take an earlier timeout. They lost another timeout because of an unsuccessful challenge. And that's the dilemma that Fox is facing right now.
The other dilemma he's facing is his defense is tired, and they're worn down. And I think, you know, after these first downs, after, you know, the Cowboys having the ball so many plays, that defense has been out on the field a long time, and they're starting to wear and tear is starting to show on them. And the Cowboys right now have the upper hand.
2nd down and 10. Romo, like a 10-year veteran, just milks the play clock right down to the end with the game clock running, and the ball is at the 13-yard line.
You know, Romo reminds me of Jimmy Johnson years ago. Used to have a saying about, you know, you talk about it and the guy's it. And he said, yeah, the guy that's it is the guy that walks in a room and sinks the 8-ball. You know, and you kind of feel that Tony Romo may be that guy that walks in a room, sinks the 8-ball, takes the money, and walks out.
He has that kind of personality.
Look at this. In this quarter, 105 yards the Cowboys to 4 for Carolina. That's why the defense looks tired.
3rd down and 8. At worst, a chip shot field goal attempt. At best, a 1st down and maybe a touchdown to come. So it'll be a 1st down at the 3-yard line. Marion Barber.
Yeah, excuse me, Al, but that's what a tired defense looks like. I mean, that's that you know, you get that type of run and you get missed tackles, and you know, those things happen to a tired defense, and that's what the Carolina Panthers are right now, and the Cowboys can have their way with them. Look how tired they are. Watch here, the I formation, Oliver Hoyt, the fullback. Now that's a lead block. I mean, you just get in there, and part of it is the linebacker helped him, and he just jumped to the outside. But as I said, this defense is a worn-down defense.
1st and goal from the 3. Here's Barber, and he gets into the end zone, which is not the worst thing that can happen to Carolina at this point because they were up against it. With 1 timeout and the 2-minute warning, and at worst a Vanderjagt field goal, it was going to be a 2-possession game anyway. So at least they get the ball back, but of course in this scenario now they have to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, this is when it's fun for the Cowboys. It's fun to be an offensive lineman. You just know you have them. They're on your heels, and you're going to go get them.
Vanderjagt for the extra point. You can't say it's a season saver at the end of October, but the Dallas Cowboys were right on the cusp of losing this season. If Romo had played poorly tonight, if they had lost the game tonight, 2 more road games, Giants playing that well, this may be a season saver.
I totally agree with that. I mean, that was a tough decision that Bill Parcells made to, you know, take his quarterback out, go to Tommy Romo, and know that when you did that, you had to stay with it. It was kind of, okay, I'm going to put it in his hands. We're going to either do it or not do it with him. And if it didn't work, I agree with you, Al, it would have been a long year.
Up to the 24-yard line. Marshall shaken as he goes down to the 24-yard line. And for Bill Parcells, now at the end of his 4th season, well, there he is. I mean, there is the... Yeah. Sort of the old Parcells, a little bit of the old Bill.
Well, he's having fun. I mean, winning is fun, losing is tough. I mean, losing is terrible. There's nothing worse than losing. And probably there's nothing better than winning. And I know exactly how he feels. I've been on both ends of that. And there's owner Jerry Jones, and I know how he feels.
And you saw that graphic. I mean, Parcells has not had a win of this type.
Look at the 2 of them.
Since '86 as the coach of the Giants, trailing by 14 in the 1st quarter.
I think Parcells was just saying, there's my guy that can sink the 8 ball.
Michael Gaines. I mean, that's life in the NFL, John. I mean, it's the oldest of cliches. 1 week you're in the outhouse, and the next week you're in the penthouse.
You know, and as long as you're in the game, as long as you're here and you're coaching and you're in this game and you know it, when you lose a game, you lose your confidence, and you don't know if you're ever going to win another one.
They're not quite in the penthouse, but at least the elevator's going up. 2 minutes to go. Cowboys by 14. You had Ellis coming in, creating the fumble, and Dallas recovers to write the ultimate finish to this one, as John Fox can only shake his head, and Carolina will go into that off week now with a record of 4-4.
Yeah, we talked about Dallas, how big a thing this is in a turnaround, and then you look, here's Greg Ellis. He's going to be the end man in the line of scrimmage. He's either a strong side linebacker, or when they go to pass rush, and he becomes a left defensive end. But you look at the Panthers, they lose 2 in a row now, and they have a bye week to think about it.
Right, and they don't play a game for 15 days. Their next game is 2 weeks from tomorrow against Tampa. So it's 1st and 10 now. Ratliff recovered the fumble. They're going to look at it upstairs.
The previous play.
Well, this is one that almost always gets reviewed. We're inside 2 minutes, so there's no challenge here. This has to be stopped by the replay official upstairs. And Scott Green will take a look under the hood, and you have, as you always do here, is the arm coming forward? Do you have the empty hand and all of the rest. Take a look. Well, you got the ball the hand was coming forward. At what point is the hand empty?
I don't know. Greg Ellis went in and grabbed his arm. I mean, that, and, you know, again, going back to old-time football and the way you wish you would, that's fumble. Now, I know what happened, you know, the Raiders in New England and the, you know, the tuck rule and all that stuff that we have to go through now because of that. But, you know, I don't care what you could, that's a fumble.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands.
And that'll write a finish to this one, and Bill Parcells and the gang can make a happy westbound trip and head back to the Metroplex, and then it's on to Washington next week. 29 more plays run by the Cowboys tonight. Of course, as John said, Carolina shooting itself in the foot. 3 turnovers in the fourth quarter alone. Barber. So for the Romo era, we don't want to make it the Romo era just yet, but for the Dallas Cowboys, they only feel about 100 times better than they did 6 nights ago.
Right, and he had to come in here and have this kind of game, and you know, you don't feel that this is a lucky one, and he's not going to have it. I mean, he has too much talent. I didn't know that he had that quicker release and could read as well as he did and do the things that he does professionally. He's pretty good. He really is.
Well, he had a little love tap for Owens before. There's a little smooch for Keith Davis.
That's the second coach kiss we've had this year. Remember Bill Cowher.
Marion Barber is going to take this one into the end zone.
Well, you see that, and he stayed in bounds, and more backs ought to learn that from Marion Barber right there. He could have gone out of bounds. It would have been easy. He could have been knocked out of bounds, but he just dipped that inside shoulder and took it into the end zone. I like that. I mean, I know they have the game won, but you still have to finish off run. And, you know, the opposite of this is a guy getting up close to the sideline and just going out of bounds. There's no way that Marion Barber's going to go out of bounds here. Just dip that shoulder, stay in bounds, and get the ball in the end zone. That's good running.
Now they're going to review this to see if he got into the end zone.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Winning is a great deodorant, and you can just see how it, you know, everything smells pretty good right now in that Cowboy sideline.
Vanderjagt for the point ever. Nick Goings. Cowboys, meanwhile, have just established a new franchise record for most points in a fourth quarter, 25.
Yeah, who would have guessed that?
Amazing.
Coming into this with the quarterback, the bad loss, the coach being upset, and the whole thing. Sometimes you wonder, are they ever going to win another game?
3rd down and 5 with the ball at the 31-yard line. Malone to Smith. And for Steve Smith tonight, that's 6 catches for 54 yards.
I've always thought in this situation it's silly to run plays. I mean, you're down 35-14. What are you going to do? You have a play that scores 20 points?
It's 4th and 1, and this is Nick Goings going out of bounds. Going to move the chains with 35 seconds to play.
I think there's sometimes you just say, okay, it's over. You know, I mean, let's just run it out, and we'll go home. We'll take our bye week. We'll put it back together and come out and play again.
This is one of those times.
Because I think if you ever got a player hurt doing this,
oh yeah,
you'd never forgive yourself.
And it's happened too. 40-yard line. 1st and 10. Gaines to the 49-yard line. Funny how Mr. Owens, Terrell Owens, is he's kind of moved into the background a little bit here. I mean, it was all T.O. all the time, and now he's like a secondary figure.
Well, and now with the win, he'll be a third dairy because, you know, it went from T.O. to the quarterback, and now both of those are going to be on the back burner.
Aiken Adele will end the game with a Dallas sack, 35 unanswered points.
So an impressive first start for Romo, who of course would spend all 14 of his years with the Dallas Cowboys. And let's spin ahead to one memorable night in those 14 years. That's 3 years after his debut, 2009. It's the opening night of Jerry World. It's the Cowboys and the Giants. It's Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth on the call.
And just moments ago, former President George W. Bush, who is now a resident of the Dallas area, came out to midfield along with Laura Bush. Mike Carey, the referee. The coin toss won by the Cowboys, and they will receive in Lawrence Tynes, who was hurt last year, so John Carney took over for him. And Carney went to the Pro Bowl now in New Orleans. Is John Felix Jones, a home run hitter who was hurt last year but showed enough in 6 games that the Cowboys love him. And the game begins with a bouncing ball down to the 7-yard line. This is Jones starting left and going right, and the Giants' coverage is good. And Felix is taken down at the 24-yard line as we take a look at the Cowboys starting offense.
Tony Romo, Eastern Illinois.
Mary Barber III, Minnesota.
Roy Williams, Texas.
Patrick Creighton, Northwestern Oklahoma State. Jason Witten, Tennessee. Martellus Bennett, Texas A&M. Lovell Adams, Michigan State.
Kyle Kozak, Arizona State.
Andre Gerard, Colorado.
Leonard Davis, Texas.
Mike Colombo, Boston College.
Good veteran offensive line. Each of those guys has been in the league at least 8 seasons. Adams is the senior citizen, the left tackle. He's been in for 12. Barber is the running back. Creighton's in the slot. Deion Anderson is the fullback, and Romo's going to throw, and it's a swing pass to Barber. And Barber with a little straight arm before he's knocked out of bounds by the linebacker Michael Boldy, number 52. Tony Romo has had a good start to his career, but the question's going to become, and there were his numbers last year at Tampa Bay. And Chris, when it's all said and done, will he be Troy Aikman? Will he be Roger Staubach? Or will he be like Danny White, who was very good but never brought the Lombardi home?
You have to wait until playoff season to answer that one, because he certainly has everything else going for them. But until he starts winning those playoff games, you'd never get in the category with those guys you mentioned.
2nd down and 5 from the 28-yard line. Pierce getting everybody set. He's the defensive quarterback. Now a draw play. The Cowboys run a lot of draws, and it's Barber to the 31-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and short. Cofield in on the stop. Here's the Giant D.
Justin Tuck, Notre Dame. Barry Cofield, Northwestern.
Fred Robbins, Wake Forest.
OCU Manura, University of Troy. Danny Clark, Illinois.
AP, Arizona. Chase Blackburn, Akron. Corey Webster, LSU.
Kenneth Phillips, DU.
Mike Johnson, Arizona. Terrell Thomas, USC.
There's that rebuild, at least for tonight's secondary, that Andrea talked about. Key guy, of course, is Webster. Is their best defensive back and normally gets locked up on the other team's best receiver. Tonight, that would be Roy Williams. On 3rd and short, Romo has a lot of time in the pocket. And still the Giant defense does its job downfield, intended for Martellus Bennett. So they gave Romo some time. He looked, he pumped, incomplete.
Well, you don't often see Tony Romo with this much time and not come away with anything. He could have actually stood there a little bit longer. Looked like Bennett was trying to get across the face, but this was that was not a good start.
And now what you've all been waiting for, the first punt of the night. And of course, you know about the overhanging jumbotron, which is 90 feet high, and that won't even come close as the kick by McBriar is fielded at the 21-yard line by Dominic Hickson. A flag goes down, and that will most likely negate what would be a good run back to almost midfield. Mike Carey.
During the return, illegal block on the back. Receiving team number 41. 10-yard penalty. First down.
C.C. Brown. And the Giants now will be back all the way up deep in their own territory. Eli Manning, take a look at that. Last year sacked 27 times, 12 times versus the Cowboys, including 8 in the game in Irving last December, and only 15 times in the other 14 games. So the Cowboys knew how to get to him. And you've got Ware getting whacked by his own man. Igor Olshansky was so excited getting the crowd into it that he gave him a shot to the chops.
The Giants are going to try and whack him now because they have not been able to block him.
Spot the ball at the 17-yard line. First down. Brandon Jacobs is the running back. The fake to him. Well, it is Manning escaping and then throwing it upfield. It is caught at the 48-yard line by Steve Smith. So Smith goes against Terrence Newman, the outstanding Cowboy corner. 32 yards off the fake, buying time, first down.
Well, Terrence Newman not fooled at all in this play. Really had great coverage. Steve Smith goes with a double move. Newman cuts him off, but because it was a bootleg, Eli had so much time to work, he just peels back underneath and makes a huge catch. What a start for the Giants.
For Smith now in his third season, his longest career reception. He, in effect, becomes number 1 with Burris gone and with Amani Toomer gone as well from the 49-yard line on first down. Manning throwing again, and that is caught and inside the 40, and that's taken in by Dominic Hickson, and he's taken down by Ken Hamlin, and that takes a little air out of the crowd immediately. Good for 13 yards.
So everybody in the building knew what? That the Giants were going to come out and run the football with Brandon Jacobs. So what do? Come out 2 straight passes and look pretty good doing it too. For Eli, he just does not seem to be uncomfortable in any environment anymore.
45 yards on the first 2 passes. The ball to the 38-yard line. Cowboys run a base 3-4. But sent 5 rushes a lot on pass plays. And this is the big bull Jacobs at 6'4", 264. Let's take a look at the Giants starters.
Eli Manning, Ole Miss.
Brandon Jacobs, Southern Illinois.
Madison Hitchcock, North Carolina. Steve Smith, Southern Cal. Dominic Hickson, Akron.
Kevin Boss, Western Oregon.
Dave Deal, University of Chief-Illinois.
Rich Soybert, Western Illinois. Sean O'Hara, Rutgers University.
Chris Snee, Boston College. Kareem McKenzie, Penn State.
Right guard Chris Snee, son-in-law of head coach Tom Coughlin. Second down and 6, that offensive line, and Manning had made 33 consecutive starts together, over 2 full seasons worth, and that is Jacobs getting taken down in the backfield, something you don't see too often. Jay Ratliff, the nose tackle, right there to make sure he got him down a 5-yard loss.
Well, Ratliff is just one of the quickest nose tackles in the game. You'll see him shoot the gap right here, and his ability to get upfield. Now, Sean O'Hara is an excellent center, but I haven't seen anybody in the league yet with the kind of quickness that can make that cutoff block. You almost have to check out of that run if Ratliff is that side.
Ratliff finally getting the acknowledgement he's been due last year. Went to his first Pro Bowl. Third down and 11. Manning out of the shotgun. Cowboys jostle him. Then a wobbly pass is caught at the 20-yard line by Smith, and he's taken down at the 15-yard line. So Eli is able to hang in. He was contacted, got away, and then it's a 26-yard gain on the play.
Well, the first thing first, you have to take care of DeMarcus Ware. They're going to bring Kevin Boss, the tight end, out there to chip him first before he gets to deal. But for Manning, he stood in there pretty good. He may have even gotten that ball knocked loose a little bit in his hand, so it came out a little wobbly, but he stayed with it and found Smith.
So Smith with 2 catches for 58 yards on the Giants' opening drive. 5 minutes into the game, the Giants out of the shotgun at the Cowboy 13-yard line. Manning in the pocket, fires over the middle, and that's incomplete, and it's knocked down at the last moment by Orlando Scandrick. Getting the start, Dominic Hickson, the intended receiver. Scandrick winning the spot at the other corner opposite Newman in his second year out of Boise State.
Skandrick just off and inside, has him all the way, and Hickson really just kind of goes right into him to have a chance on that one. He had to undercut Skandrick. It's kind of interesting what the Cowboys do with their corners. They have two that they like on the outside. So Mike Jenkins and Orlando Skandrick, they alternate starts. That time Skandrick with a nice play.
That's Smith wide to the left on 2nd and 10. They're going to give it to Jacobs. He swings to the right to the 12-yard line. Ken Hamlin comes in to push him down. 3rd down and 9. Giants last week against the Redskins 3 times in the red zone. Couldn't get into the end zone. Had to settle for 2 field goals and gave it up on downs on the other possession. 3rd down and 9. Smith left, Manningham to the right. Double slot left. Manning throws and knocked down inside the 5-yard line. That's Mike Jenkins, their #1 draft choice out of South Florida last year. Jenkins coming into the nickel and knocking it away from Hickson. 4th down.
Well, of course, Plaxico Burress no longer here, and he was such a great threat down in the red zone. Here, you've got to think that Hickson had a chance, but he would have had to really come back hard, really more than anything else. Eli lucky Mike Jenkins one didn't come up with that. So these receivers, at least early on down in the red zone, losing the battle.
30-yard attempt for Lawrence Tynes. He was hurt last year, healthy again this year. Fiegels puts it down, and the first points at Cowboys Stadium are scored by the New York Giants. 3-0 New York.
This broadcast is copyrighted by NFL Productions for the private use of our audience.